the next part of the question says that we are to use the digitized image, or the georeference and digitized image. That's the catchment we already have. We are supposed to use that to answer the create a spatial map, right? Now, to do that, you simply, since it's the same catchment we are going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to uncheck everything I do not need. I'm going to uncheck everything I don't need. Then I'm going to only leave my catchment here. So over here, I'll simply bring my catchment upwards. Let me just drag my catchment upwards. That will not change anything. Let's just leave it there. That wouldn't change. So now this is my digitized image, georeferenced and digitized image. This is what I'm going to use to create the spatial map. I'm going to use this to create a spatial map. Now, to create a spatial map, you need a certain data, and that data has already been provided in the image file that was shared, right? The image file that was shared, that data has already been. The name of the data is the CWSA data. CWSA data. So you have to bring in that data, but before you can bring in that data, you have to make sure that data is saved. It's an Excel sheet, but you have to make sure that data is saved as comma delimited. That's CSV. So in order to do that, first let's make sure our data is saved in that data type. So this is my CWSA data that was provided. So I'm going to save this data in comma CSV comma delimited. So I come to File, Save As. So save a copy. Then I'm going to browse. Yeah. So I'm going to change it's from Excel workbook to CSV comma delimited. So there are so many CSV, but you select CSV comma delimited. Then let me save it as CWSA data 1. No, let me make a data 2 so that I'll be able to distinguish it. Now I'm going to save that in my image files here. So save. Yeah, so that has been saved. That has been saved. So now I come back to my map, my area, then I go to so to bring that CSV file, we don't come to catalog and drag. This time around, we go to File, Add Data, Add XY Data, right? Then at this field, I'm going to browse this folder. Then this is a CWSA data, right? I'm going to add it. Then you check. So X is so over here, you check what the question will say. You check what the question will. So based on the exam we wrote recently, X is going to be your longitude, Y as your latitude. But the Z field, I think the question was saying we should create a map for discharge. So you are going to select discharge in here, discharge. Then you come to edit. Then again, WGS 1984, okay. Then okay. Then okay. I realize that it has been imported into your map, right? So assuming that this data type, you had some of this data type outside your catchments, what do you think you have to do? You have to clip it onto it, then you uncheck the old one. But this one, you realize that everything is already in my catchment, so I do not have to clip anything again. Now, this is not what I'm expected. I'm supposed to create a spatial map. So I'm going to classify this discharge data. This discharge data I've brought in, I'm going to classify this data using the IDW. IDW, yes, the IDW stands for inverse distance weighted. Inverse distance weighted. So I'm going to use that interpolation to do that. Now, to do that, you simply come to geoprocessing, ARC2 box. Then in your ARC2 box, you are going to look for, you look for spatial analysis tools. So spatial analysis tools, then under spatial analysis tools, you come to interpolation. So this interpolation, then you drop it. Then now you can see IDW. You double click on IDW. this opens up, right? So when you double click on IDW, this opens up. Then at the input feature, we are going to select this, the CW, the data type we brought in, which is the CWSA. Sorry, CWSA. Then the Z value, since we are dealing with discharge, we are going to select the discharge over there. Then over here, we are simply going to name it under the output raster. I'm going to select here. Then I'm going to name it as, since this is the classifier, I'm going to name it as classify underscore. Let me say classify underscore discharge. Then I'm going to save it. Then I'll come to environment. Then under environment, I'll come to processing extent. Processing extent. Under processing extent, I'm going to select same as layer catchment. Same as layer catchment, or how you named yours. Then I scroll down to raster analysis. I'm going to select the raster analysis over here. And under raster analysis, the max, that one, I drop down the max. And again, I'm going to select catchment. Catchment. Just like how you named it, right? So then I can go to OK. Then OK. Then this will classify for you. It's going to take some time. So yes, the classification has been done. So you realize that this is the classification, right? It wasn't well done. This is wrong, right? This is wrong. Some people will be experiencing this. This is wrong. So just go back, remove this, and repeat the process. So you go to geoprocessing, Arc Toolbox, spatial analyst, interpolation, IDW. Yeah. So I think over here, you're going to select this, your data you brought in. Yes, you're going to select the data you brought in, right? Then over here, I'm going to select discharge. Yes. And I'm going to rename it. So let me name it as discharge 1. Let me just name it as discharge 1. So save. Then you come to environment. And at the environment, you go to processing extent. Processing extent. Then under processing extent, over here, you're going to drop down. Then you choose same as layer catchment. Same as layer catchment. So select same as layer catchment. So some of you will experience the mistake I experienced earlier on just because of certain errors. So this is what you are actually supposed to do. You go to geoprocessing, Arc Toolbox, spatial analysis, interpolation. Then you double click on the IDW. Then the input feature is supposed to be the data you brought in. The Z value, since we are working with discharge, should be discharge. You are going to save it. So let's say I'm going to save it as discharge. Let me save it as discharge 4. Anyhow you save it, we'll change it later. So save, right? Then I'm going to scroll down. Yeah, so this side is okay. But then you go to environment. Make sure you select processing extent. Initially, I was selecting output coordinates. So make sure you select processing extent. Yes. Then under processing extent, where there is default, you click that, then use same as layer catchment. Just like because I've named it catchment, probably you named it a different way. So same as layer catchment. Then you are going to scroll down to raster analysis. So you select raster analysis as well. Then you see mask. Where there is mask, select the mask and click on catchment as well. Then OK. Then OK. You realize that it's processing. Let's wait for some time. Yes. So now let me just zoom this to layer. and let's see how it looks like. So I have this. Let me select my catchment, right click, zoom to layer. Let me so realize that it has filled the entire catchment. This is how it's supposed to look like. But then sometimes they can tell you to classify, use classification of 4, use something. To do that, you simply have to come and select this discharge over here. This is the classify. You right click, you go to properties. Then under properties, come to symbology. Then under symbology, you come to classified. Then you can see number of classes. So I'm going to use classes 4. You realize that it has changed to 4. Then you can change the color as well. So I want to use this color, right? Then you simply have to. Then again, over here, the label, you can click on this label, then go to format labels, right? Sometimes they can tell you to use degree, decimal degree of 4 or whatever. So let's say I'll come to number of decimal places. Then I'm going to make the number of decimal places 4 as well. Then okay. Then I can simply go ahead and apply. Then okay. So this is how it's going to look like. So this is a classified, this is how the classified image looks like. Now with the classification, let's go back there so that I show you something. So this chart properties, right? Proper. So over here, you can also, you see this one, the classification. Let me show you something. Labels, format labels, right? Go back. Let me show you something. Sometimes the classification, we have several types, right? So they can tell you equal interval, geometric interval, whatever. Over here, you can see equal interval. But let's say, what if they tell you, I quite remember the exams, they were like geometric interval. So you come here, classify. Then under classify, you can equal interval. You can see equal interval over here. But we are going to use, there are so many of them, natural breaks. So let's use geometric interval. Then let's say a classification of 4, yes. Then okay. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to show you. Apply, then okay. So this is how it looks like. This is the classified image. This is a classified image. You can ask to be asked to perform reclassification and all that. You can be asked to perform reclassification and also add yes. So now let's say that in order to reclassify, you just come to your windows, then you search. So you search for reclassify, type in reclassify, then you search. There are so many of them, but you click on reclassify into bracket spatial analyst. So select this, reclassify into bracket spatial analyst. Wait for some time. A pop-up is supposed to, a window is supposed to open up. So there's the window. So at the input raster, you select the discharge, right? That's the data you brought in. Then let's see, you come to classify. How many classification? Let's say I'm using I'm using geometric interval, the classification of 4. Then okay. Then I simply come here. So over here, let's say I will go to, so there's the reclassify, right? Reclassify. So I'm just going to click on okay. And you realize that it's reclassifying. It's reclassifying. Yes, so you realize that the colors has changed. So when you come here, you see reclass, right? This is the reclassify, and this is the classified. So that's how we reclassify. Now, sometimes you'll be asked to show the discharge points. We already have the discharge points, right? So there's the discharge points, and they are on the map. You can do that. Then also, sometimes you can be asked to create a map out of this. So like the exams, we're asked to create a map out of this, but we're asked to create a map out of the classified one, not the reclassified. So since despite the fact that you've reclassified, maybe use the reclassified to answer certain questions, but we're asked to create a map out of the classified one. So I'm going to uncheck the reclassified. Then I have this. Then I'm going to create a map out of the reclassified. And you know that a map will have a legend, not arrow and graticals. So just like what we did, to add, just go to view. So you go to view, then you go to layout view, right? Then since you see I've already done that, that was why it came this way. So I'm just going to put this one here. I already have my map and whatever. But then if you don't have your not arrow, scale and everything, you've already done that already. So you simply have to go through the process again and do that. So this is how you are going to create your third map. The rest is to just answer. I've already showed you how you export it as well. The rest is to just to answer certain questions and you'll be fine. Sometimes you can be asked to find the you can be asked to find maybe how do we call it, find the what's the resolution, what's the average discharge and all that. They are we've already done that in other videos. You can watch them as well. Oh yeah. Then also you can be so basically, that's it. Basically, that's But then there can be a case where they'll provide a table where they'll tell you to fill the table. So with that one isn't very much difficult. Isn't difficult. I think you'll be asked to use the is it the reclassified map? That was the main reason why you reclassified. So I'll check back the reclassified, and I'm going to right click on it. So you right click on it, then go to open attribute table. When you open the attribute table, it's already here for you. So you are going to write these values of the counts into the table. So the table will have boxes, right? So you're going to write this value of the counts into the table. Now the table will have scale as well. Sometimes they'll tell you to write the scale. Okay. So the scale is simply, let's say if it's 4, maybe you have, if it's 4, then maybe you have low, low, is it low, high? Is it low, medium, high, and very high? Probably that's the scale. Low. Then you can see that sometimes they tell you what are the discharge values. So when you check this thing, when you check this scale, or even when you come here, when you come to your classifying, when you come here, these are the discharge values, 12.0001 to 31 point. So I'm going to write these values into the discharge values column, right? Discharge values column. I'm going to write these values over here, over there. So it's so many ways to go about it. We are just going to ask you to manipulate, but basically this the whole process. This is the whole process. Like, share, comments, and let us know your view on this. Thank you for watching this video as well.